Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, folks. Welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I'm your host, Andrew Jim, and today we got ourselves the lineup of some more Pega study. We have obviously some more videos to upload and schedule, and then of course we have um, Chrono Trigger later on tonight. So hopefully, if any of that interests you, then you stick around and join me for this entire stream. If you're watching this later on YouTube, most of this content is normally in my playlist, so you're welcome to go check any of that, um, any of the VODs there. The game VODs, the programming VODs, so on so forth. So, feel free to check those out if you're so inclined. Um, also, if you can help me out with the YouTube algorithm, that would also be much appreciated because I can't do this by myself. I need help from you, the viewers, to get anywhere on YouTube. Um, so, um, I will do what I can, you know, um, in the hopes that, I will expand and get better as I go along. Um, I just hope that you would be willing to join me on that. Uh, so, um, let's get into the Pega studying, shall we? Now, who am I? Well, I'm a currently unemployed software developer. Um, my last job was working with the Pega low-code environment, but um, I was not able to get the certification for the system architect. Um, so that's what I'm currently working on. I'm currently working on trying to gain my system architect certification um, through this self-study streaming series to kind of keep me on track, keep me going towards that goal because, that's a goal that I want to reach because that would potentially give me a job later on. So, I mean, who wouldn't, right? Um, you have to kind of uh, either, work your, do, uh, you have to either, keep up with your skills in some fashion or another, or you have to kind of expand on your skills and look at other um, languages that are out there. Okay, they threw me into Pega. It's fairly easy for the most part. I mean, I didn't really do too much coding at my last job, even though I mean there's still the potential of doing coding. It's just not as common, or as it's not as Um, it's not needed as much because the whole purpose of Pega is to just kind of remove the need for coding in a sense. Even though technically, you know, depending on what you're looking for the application, you may still need it. So don't think that it's going to be a completely no code um, language. um, because you still need to use Java in order to um, handle any scenarios that you don't necessarily have any kind of Pega functionality to do the work that you're looking for. Um, so it's not like a complete devoid of code. It's just not as much, right? Um, but I'm working towards that system architect certification. I was at my last job. We were trained by an authorized training partner who, the majority of my team and even the the trainers, coworkers were all very dissatisfied by his performance. Um, a good majority of us decided to go for self-study, and well, I wasn't able to push through hard enough to get the certification. So I'm trying it again. I'm trying to, work through the missions to get learn enough so that I can get that certification. Now, um, my problem is that I don't have anybody to really discuss a lot of this stuff with. Um, I can always message the people that were at my last job, but you know they're on the job, they're working right at this moment in time, so I can't necessarily bother them all the time. Um, I may ask them once in a blue moon, hey, can you look into this? But um, you know, um, and I've asked them to check out my videos to maybe help me out with the understanding. Um, but life can get in the way sometimes. So you know, um, so that's fine. That's understandable. No worries on that. Um, you know, um, we'll just keep on moving forward for that goal, right? Um, Now, bear in mind, okay, I'm not an authorized training partner, and this is not meant to be an instructor-led training, okay? Both of these scenarios would mean that, the individual training you should know a lot about Pega. They should be able to teach you, forwards and backwards, telling you everything that you need to know about Pega, everything that you need to learn about Pega, what to avoid, what to do, um, and they'll talk, hopefully they'll teach you about keywords from previous versions as well, because um, not only did I encounter it during the certification myself, but you may be talking with individuals out in the field that haven't updated their certification. They might be Pega 7 certified, so you might be talking with them, directly. So they may throw keywords at you, and you won't know what the heck they're talking about. Okay, so so make sure that if you do have an authorized training partner or you're in the instructor-led training, ask those questions. Okay. Now, I'm not doing the instructor-led training myself because it costs a lot of money to participate in it. I can't I can't afford that right now, so it's not something I can do. I can only do the self-study at this time. Um, I got too many bills and food to pay for, so um, I can't risk it. So um, so if you do go for the instructor-led training, like I said, ask those questions. Get your money's worth out of it, because if you're paying like $5,000 for that instructor-led training, make sure that you get your money's worth out of it. Okay, they they should be teaching you in everything that you need to learn about Pega so that you can pass that certification with flying colors. Okay, so um, don't be afraid to ask questions, because you might not be the only person that has that question. Okay. Um, so, um, you know, in a sense, be like a child. Ask why. You know, Children are curious by nature. They want to know how the world works. If you if you teach a child the correct answers for everything, then they'll know more about the world, right? Explain it to them, tell them, answer them, you know. So, and they'll be better for it. Okay, in a sense, be like a child, you know, because children take in information and retain it crazy fast. Okay, um, because their brain is still developing. Okay, I would love to have the retention of a child, you know, um, you know, right now, because I'd be taking in a lot more information than what I did before. Um, Learning Pega would be fairly easy, for the most part, because I'd be learning everything that they are throwing at me in this, and um, I'd be retaining a good majority of it, if not all of it. Okay. So, um, so do that. Work towards, if you're working towards that certification, whether it's, you know, business architect, system architect, lead system architect, senior system architect, whatever, do what you can to learn as much as you can. Okay? So, um, now, one last thing before we get into studying the system architect. I'm not getting any kind of benefit from Pega itself. Okay, if you're thinking that, oh, Jim's getting all this, super extra benefits from Pega, that's the reason why he's doing these videos. I'm not getting a, I'm not getting nothing from Pega at this time. Okay, no money, no training, no nothing. Okay, so don't, you know, the most that they've kind of given me, if anything, has been answering my suggestions and asking me about, some of my suggestions and the like. That's it. Okay. So, which don't get me wrong, I am thankful that they, you know, look at my suggestions and maybe adjust accordingly. Okay. But they don't necessarily need to. Okay. They don't have to do that. They can ignore me much like any other business has ignored any other customer in the past. Okay? So, um, I hope that they continue to address the suggestions that I give to them. But again, they don't necessarily need to. Okay? They can ghost me, you know. Right now they're kind of ghosting me at this time. I've yet to receive any kind of notification from them lately, but that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, um, I don't I don't necessarily need them to show favoritism towards me. Okay, I'm not expecting it. If they want to contact me about maybe some kind of benefits or something like that, they're welcome to if they want to. My email address is posted, so or at least my streaming email address has been posted. And don't worry, I keep track of that. Um, but that's up to them. Okay, I'm not necessarily looking for that. Would it be not? Would it be helpful? Sure, but like I said, I'm not necessarily looking for it. So, okay, view the dashboard. So let's go. Um, we got we finished off the business architect, so if you're looking for me to work over the business architect, well, it's kind of too late for that. I've covered all the business architect materials. I'm posting them up on YouTube at this particular moment in time. Um, so you should be seeing those videos in the Pega playlist already. Okay. So if there's a particular topic that you want to cover or you want to see within these two missions or the two modules there, they should be up if not already up. So, or they will be up soon. By the time of this video, right now, I still got like maybe 4 more videos to post or so to complete the Business Architect series. Um, but if you're watching this later on, YouTube, these VODs, then most likely they're that the topics are already covered. So you can always go back and look over the Business Architect. Also, if you are trying to go for the Business Architect certification, I would recommend going for the Pega Express Delivery Mission as well, because that covers more of the Pega Express subject. So I would recommend doing that. But let's get into the System Architect, shall we? We're only 50% complete. We got a lot of modules and challenges to get through. So let's go into creating a rule. Rules and rule types. All right. So a rule is the basic building block of Pega Platform application that defines its behavior. Each rule is an instance of a rule type. The rule type determines the type of behavior modeled by the rule. When you play a game of chess, you and your opponent agree to follow a specific set of instructions. These instructions govern gameplay, such as how each piece moves on the game board. For example, on its first move, the pawn can move 1 or 2 spaces forward. These basic instructions are the rules of chess. Now, technically, a pawn can't move all the way across like that, but when you model a case type in the Pega platform application, you can configure the application with instructions to create, process, and resolve a case. These instructions are rules. Rules describe the behavior for certain cases, such as how the user interface is displayed when the work urgency increases. Pega platform uses the rules you create to generate application code in the background. Pega platform provides many rule types to use as templates for creating a rule. Each rule type models a specific type of behavior, such as automated decisions or UI design. For example, you use a specific type of rule called a flow rule to model a process. To learn more about rules in Pega Platform, see rules. I mean, I'm already. It's like, aren't you supposed to be covering rules in this topic already? I, okay, hold on. What is this? Rules. Um, Alright, this is a complete list of other links to other pages. Oh my god. This doesn't actually tell you much about the rules themselves, it's just talking about what rules are kind of connected to. So, yeah. Um, I mean, might be a good thing to maybe bookmark so that you can kind of go through these later if you want to. But obviously, they're not talking about, you're not really learning more about rules per se on that particular page. You're learning about, what topics rules are associated with. So yeah, it's whatever. Okay, we move on. Automated rule creation in App Studio. Much of the work of designing an application can be completed by using App Studio. Pega platform provides a simplified interface that automatically creates and manages the underlying rules while allowing developers to focus on business tasks. For example, when you configure a case type in App Studio, you use the case lifecycle and configuration panels to add processes, define steps, and configure views. In the background, Pega Platform creates and manages the rules that define the process flows, tasks, and UI. In the center of the following image, slide the vertical line to see the case lifecycle with a process created in App Studio and the flow rule, the process that is created in the background. So here's what you would see in App Studio. First stage, first step, another step, one more step with the case lifecycle, and then of course you have the workflow. That you can do basically through Dev Studio. First step, another step, one more step, and the flow, to go from start to finish. So application modularity with rules. The use of individual rules makes your application modular. By describing case behavior with modular task-focused rules, you can combine and reuse rules as needed. For example, you create a rule to describe the content of a customer email regarding the status of a change of address. By creating the email message as a separate rule, rather than embedding the message in the case lifecycle, you can update the content of the email without impacting the rest of the business process. This modularity provides three significant benefits: versioning, delegation, and reuse. So versioning, developers create a new version of a rule whenever case behavior needs to change. Pega Platform maintains a history of changes to a rule, allowing developers to review the change history and undo changes if needed. Because each rule describes a specific case behavior, the rest of the case remains unaffected. For example, a developer updates a UI form with instructions and removes a critical field. You can review the history of the form and revert to a version before the changes were made without changing other rules in the application. Well, that's not exactly true, and it could potentially, you could potentially break what happens. Because if you build anything off of the rule that you created, like you made a rule as like a foundation, and then you have another rule based off of that foundation, then if you change that foundation rule, then you could potentially be breaking the rule that uses said foundation. Um, so while sure it might not necessarily change the rule that's based off the foundation, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not breaking the what happens to your overall structure. Okay, like say for example, you have in their example here they say updates the UI form with instructions and removes a critical field. Well, okay. What if you have a rule that somehow uses said critical field, you know, later on? You know, you remove that critical field, and now that that other rule that uses said critical field is now completely broken. Okay, you're now having a danger to, you know, to your code because now it's maybe searching for critical in that critical field and can't find it. So who knows what it might add, right? Like maybe this critical field that you no longer use, like maybe it's like taxes, right? You have a tax field that shows the percentage of taxes, right? And you somehow don't need that anymore in your one application. But later on, you make a calculation based off of those taxes. Like you need to calculate the total, right? And then you multiply the taxes into the subtotal to create the grand total, right? Well, without that critical field in there to, give you that value of taxes, then you're basically breaking the total value, later on, right? So, what happens then? So be careful. Be careful with, how you handle your rules in this particular case. So, developers then delegate rules to business users to allow business users to update case behavior as business conditions change. The business user updates the delegated rule while other parts of the application remain unchanged. So, for example, expense reports that total $25 or less achieve automatic approval. You create a rule to test whether an expense report total is $25 or less and delegate the rule to the accounting department. The accounting department can then update the rule to increase the threshold for automatic approval increases to $50 without submitting a change request for the application. So, reuse. Developers reuse rules whenever an application needs to incorporate existing case behavior. Otherwise, you must reconfigure the behavior every time you need the behavior. For example, you create a UI form to collect policyholder information for auto insurance claims. You can then reuse this UI form for property insurance claims and marine insurance claims. You might need to change it up a little bit because that form might need like other policies, other different policies than the auto insurance, bear in mind. Like, um, for example, for your auto insurance, right? Your auto insurance form, it basically says, hey, um, one of your options that you can put under for the auto insurance claim is maybe you got a flat tire. Okay, well, how do you explain a flat tire for property insurance or marine insurance? You get what I'm saying? So be careful with the reuse. Don't, know how much you can put in and how. Otherwise, you're you're gonna make yourself look a fool in saying, "Hey, your boat has a flat tire. Well, we need to take care of that." It's like, wait, what? you know, be careful. Be careful with the reuse. Okay. Copy and pasting, can be quite helpful, quite fast, but at the same time could also lead to a lot of confusion and bugs if you're not careful. Okay? Believe me, I know. Copying and pasting can be dangerous. It can be fast, but it can also be dangerous. All right. Learn how to delegate a rule. See delegating a rule or data type. To increase the reusability of a rule, use um, parameterization to drive the rule's logic based on the value passed as a parameter instead of hard-coded data. Parameterization helps to reduce the duplication of code and the implementation time of rule specializations. To learn more about parameterization, see defining the input parameters of a rule. Boy, that's a kind of a rough word to pronounce. Click your knowledge for the following interaction, or check your knowledge. What is the purpose of a rule in a Pega platform application? A rule is an instruction for describing a specific case behavior that is highly specialized and cannot be reused. Nope. That right there is incorrect. So you automatically know that's wrong. So a rule is a specific case behavior that must be created and managed in Dev Studio. Well, no. That, that must be created? No. Because rules are built and can be built with App Studio. Granted, you might not necessarily see those rules made, but they are still made in App Studio as well. So no, must be created. No, that's incorrect. A rule is a template for creating a rule type and determines the behavior modeled for the rule type. Um, I think this is kind of the other way around. Um, you know, the rule type kind of models the behavior. So, so I believe three is wrong, but let's. I'm not 100% sure. The way they phrased it might mean, what I think they're trying to mean, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's look at number 4 here just in case. We already know the first two is wrong, so there's that. A rule is an instruction for describing a specific case behavior, such as a process or automated decision. Um, Again, a rule can be more than what they are referencing here. So I'm not liking how they're phrasing 3, but it's feeling like 3 is the best answer. So let me check. No, okay. So it has to be 4. A rule type is a template for creating the rule and determines the type of behavior model for the rule. Yeah, that's why I was thinking that this is incorrect because um it's like the exact opposite. So my instincts were correct on that, but I wasn't really convinced with the fourth answer there. So oh, they rearranged everything here. Um, there it is. Okay. I mean, it's not it's not really wrong, but it feels as though they're kind of describing it in such a way where it has like a very narrow focus, when in fact the rules are basically the entire idea of what Pega is all about. And the entire platform, the case lifecycle is based off of rules. Everything in there is based off of a rule that has been previously created in the past. So the fact that it's saying is an instruction for describing a specific case behavior, that that right there doesn't feel right. Um, a rule describes behavior of individual cases. It's like, but um, rule is the basic building block of the Pega platform application that defines its behavior. A rule is an instance of a rule type. Um, so, um, when you model a case type in Pega platform application, you configure the application with instructions, which these instructions are rules. And the instructions are to create, process, and resolve a case. There's a lot more there than I feel you know, that, describing a specific case behavior is. eh, I feel like the language here is basically saying that, hey, a rule is something very specific that, there's nothing else beyond it. When in fact, when you look at what was said above, a rule has a lot of power to it, okay? It, a rule is basically everything that is Pega platform, you know. Anything that you look at on the, Pega environment stems from a rule. Okay. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if this is correct or not. I mean, it is, but again, you know, um, I think they're doing a disservice on that. Um, Now that could be me. Okay, if you are looking at that and going, no, what you read above and what you're reading right here on this question are exactly the same. If you feel that way, then maybe give a comment. You know, uh, say something in chat right now, or if you're watching these videos later, then give a comment. Let me know if you feel like both are the same. You know, if you feel that I'm right, then let me know as well. Because, or if you feel that I'm right, maybe contact, suggest an edit as well. You know, be proactive, yourself on suggesting an edit to that particular question, because it again doesn't feel like it's aligning itself with what was previously said. That's that's my perspective on it. That's my opinion on it. Um, you know, it's not wrong. It's just I feel like this answer is describing it in such a way where the focus of the rule is very narrow, when in fact the rule is everything in Pega platform. So, um, hmm, maybe they're kind of putting it towards the question here. What is the purpose of a rule? Purpose. But again, it still feels very narrow. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd like to understand, I'd like to kind of get your take on that answer as well. All right, so we have 15 minutes. Um, okay, rule sets have a lot of information. We're gonna skip that for tomorrow. Rule sets are another topic that is going to be going over quite a bit. These are very important topics, so they are pretty much the basis for the system architect um, program. You're gonna want to know what rules, rule types, rule sets, how to create them, how to reuse them, so on and so forth. You're gonna need to know how to go about doing this, for system architect, because you will be doing this. I remember at one particular moment in time, um, I was having a little bit of difficulty with a worker because we needed to have rule sets set in a specific order, so that one foundation is built off another. Um, but he kept on putting his rule set out of order, it felt like. So my rule set was being kind of built off of his when it should have been the other way around. You know, his set should have been using like mine in order to do what he needed to do. So that's why I was like, hey, you need to hold off on uploading your rule set because I need to get mine set first so that yours won't have any, bugs in it. Because if you're doing it right now and you're trying to ask for a field that hasn't even been created because it's created in my particular rule set, then you are, you know, causing unnecessary bugs. So, you know, but so bear that in mind. Okay. Um, okay. Um, so that's going to be it for the Pega instructions for now. We are going to go ahead and move on to the video uploads and scheduling. I have a backlog of videos that I need to schedule to release for everybody. Um, so there's a lot of um, there's going to be a lot of um, gaming videos, development videos, Pega videos, so on and so forth being added into my playlists. So if you have any interest in any of those, feel free to check those out. Um, if you have any questions about this particular topic that we just covered or any of the other previous topics in Pega, then feel free to ask. Okay. I don't mind trying to answer those questions. If I can. If I can't, I'll let you know, and then I'll try to find someone that can answer it for you. Okay. So don't feel like you're not gonna get an answer on my videos. Okay. Um, or at the very least, like I said, I'll try to find someone that can answer your question, or if someone comes along and answers it for you, both could be possible. So, um, like I said, ask questions for more understanding. Okay, don't be afraid to do that. Um, the business architect videos will be um, scheduled soon. Um, I'm getting down to the last couple of videos on that up to the test. So, those should be scheduled fairly soon, and, everybody should be able to go through the business architect, um, to try to, get their business architect certification. And I wish you luck on it, but I also recommend that you study hard, you know, get some mock exams, get some um, study the topics that you're kind of weak on. If there's some additional links or topics that cover, that particular information, then go through it because, um, the missions, the topics, the modules, they might not cover everything that may be asked on the certification. So be careful with that, okay? Be diligent in your studying for the certification. Okay. If you have any other questions, you can always reach me, through the comments. You can reach me through my Discord if you want to. You can go to my description on these videos and see, what my social media links are, the Discord. Um, um, I have some additional links that, help me out personally, in creating these videos, Patreon, Throne, so on and so forth. That, you're welcome to contribute if you want. Um, of course, it's voluntary. Of course. That's that's a no-brainer. Um, um, Also, there's also my stream team that I made, and the idea that um, everybody on the team helps each other out to, achieve our goals. Um, so, you know, I'm hoping that, I get more interest in that, some more applicants come on in, and you will join me on really kind of, um, pushing forward on that team because I see it as a, um, something that can be very helpful for streamers and non-streamers alike. So check it out. Check out that application link. Um, there's there's a document embedded that explains more. Okay, so it's a lengthy document, but there you go. And that's gonna be it for tonight on the Pega Academy. So I want to thank everybody for joining me on this. I hope that you um, got some value out of this particular video. Hopefully, I'll see you next time. But until then, take care. Have a good night. Stay healthy, stay safe. And I'll catch strangers next time. Stop in the video.